You're Reeves' daughter. You should have died with them, the hijacker screamed at the small girl in seat 18C. Minutes later, 11-year-old Arya had disarmed him, taken control of the plane, and saved 224 lives. Before F-22 fighters broke radio silence. We know who you are, Phoenix. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Arya Reeves sits in seat 18C, squeezed between two strangers who don't look at her twice. She's small for 11, all sharp elbows and skinny legs that don't quite reach the floor even when the seat is pushed all the way up. Her dark curly hair is pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wears faded jeans, worn-out sneakers with holes in the toes, and an oversized gray hoodie with an Air Force logo that's so faded you can barely see it anymore. The logo used to be bright blue. That was 3 years ago, when her parents were still alive. She has a book in her lap, some spy thriller she picked up at the airport, but she's not really reading it. Her eyes move over the words without seeing them. She's thinking about other things. About the small apartment they left this morning. About how Sarah made her promise to keep her head down, stay invisible, don't talk to anyone. Just be a normal kid on a normal flight, Sarah had said, hugging her tight at security. I'll meet you in Chicago tomorrow. Mom's really sick, Arya. I have to go tonight, but you'll be safe on this flight. Just a few hours. You've done this before. Arya had nodded. She'd flown alone 4 times now as an unaccompanied minor. The flight attendants always treat her like she's made of glass. They bring her cookies and coloring books like she's 6 instead of 11. She always says no thank you, very polite, and they smile and leave her alone. The businessman in 18B is typing away on his laptop, fingers moving fast over the keys. He smells like coffee and cologne. The woman in 18A fell asleep before takeoff, her head tilted against the window, mouth slightly open. Neither of them knows who Arya really is. Nobody does. That's the whole point. To everyone on Delta Flight 1247, all 224 passengers and crew flying from Miami to Chicago on this perfectly ordinary Thursday afternoon, she's just Arya Harper, a quiet homeschooled kid traveling alone to visit family. But that's not her real name. Well, Arya is real. But Harper isn't. Her real name is Arya Reeves. And 3 years ago, that name meant something. It meant she was the daughter of Colonel Marcus Viper Reeves and Captain Elena Phoenix Reeves, the most famous fighter-pilot couple in the entire United States Air Force. Her dad was called Viper because he was fast and deadly in the air, striking before enemies even knew he was there. Her mom was Phoenix because no matter how bad things got, she always rose above it, always found a way to win. Together, they flew 63 missions. They were unstoppable. They were legends. They were also her mom and dad, who made pancakes on Sunday mornings and taught her how to fly when she was 5 years old. Arya's first memory of flying is sitting on her dad's lap in a little Cessna, her tiny hands on the yoke, her dad's big hands covering hers, guiding her. Feel it, baby girl, he'd said. The plane talks to you through your hands. Listen to what it's saying. Her mom taught her different things. Flying isn't about forcing the plane to do what you want, Elena had explained, sitting next to her in the cockpit when Arya was 7. It's about working together. You and the plane are partners. Treat it gently, and it'll take care of you. By the time Arya was 8 years old, she had logged 200 hours in small aircraft. Her parents said she was a natural. They said someday she'd be even better than both of them combined. But then everything changed. Arya stares out the window past the sleeping woman in 18A. The sky is bright blue with white clouds far below. She can see the wing of the Boeing 757, solid and strong, cutting through the air. Her parents died in a plane. At least, that's what everyone was told. Tragic accident, the official report said. Mechanical failure during a routine night training exercise. Both pilots killed instantly. Wreckage recovered. Investigation closed. Arya was 8 when 2 Air Force officers came to the door and told her that her mom and dad weren't coming home. She remembers screaming. She remembers Sarah, her godmother, her dad's best friend from the Air Force, holding her while she cried until she couldn't cry anymore. She remembers the funeral. The flags. The gunfire salute that made her jump. The way everyone looked at her with sad eyes and said things like, they were heroes, and, they died serving their country. But here's what Arya knows that almost nobody else knows. Her parents didn't die in an accident. They were murdered. 2 months before they died, Arya's parents discovered something terrible. During what was supposed to be a normal training flight, they accidentally intercepted radio communications they weren't supposed to hear. Communications between people inside the military, people with security clearances and access to important bases and secrets, and a terrorist group planning attacks. There was a sleeper cell. That means terrorists who were hiding inside the military, pretending to be normal soldiers and officers, waiting for the right time to strike. Marcus and Elena couldn't believe what they were hearing. They recorded everything. They gathered evidence, names, dates, plans, proof. Then they did what they were supposed to do, they reported it to their commanding officers. "We'll handle this," they were told. "Good work. Let us take it from here." 2 weeks later, their plane crashed. The investigation was fast. Too fast. The wreckage was collected, the report was written, and the case was closed before anyone could ask too many questions. Most people believed it. Accidents happen, even to the best pilots. But Sarah Chen, Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen, who had flown with Marcus for 10 years and was Elena's closest friend, didn't believe it. She knew Marcus and Elena were too good to crash because of mechanical failure. She knew they maintained their aircraft perfectly. She knew something was wrong. 3 days after the funeral, Sarah received a package at her home. It had no return address. Inside was a USB drive. On that drive was everything Marcus and Elena had discovered. Every recording. Every piece of evidence. And a video message from Elena, recorded the day before they died. Sarah, Elena had said on the video, her face serious and scared, "If you're watching this, it means we're dead. It means they got to us. Marcus and I reported what we found, and now we think someone high up is involved in covering this up. We don't know who to trust anymore. We're sending you this because you're the only person we know will keep Arya safe and finish what we started. Don't try to expose this right away. They'll kill you too. Wait. Gather more evidence. Keep Arya hidden. And when the time is right, when you have everything you need, bring them all down. Make them pay for what they're about to do to us." Sarah had sat in her apartment watching that video over and over, tears streaming down her face, until she understood what she had to do. She couldn't expose the conspiracy right away. If she did, she'd be killed just like Marcus and Elena. And then who would protect Arya? So she made a plan. Using her legal rights as Arya's godmother, Marcus and Elena had made her Arya's guardian in their will. Sarah took Arya and disappeared. They moved to a new state. They used fake names. Sarah became Beth Harper, a freelance computer worker who could work from anywhere. Arya became Arya Harper, a quiet kid who was homeschooled and didn't go out much. Every 6 months, they moved to a new apartment in a new city. They never stayed long enough for people to remember them. They never made close friends. They never left traces. For 3 years, they've been ghosts. But Sarah wasn't just hiding Arya. She was training her. "Your parents started teaching you to fly," Sarah had told Arya a month after the funeral, when Arya's tears had finally dried up enough to listen. "They taught you because they loved it and they wanted to share it with you. But now I need to keep teaching you for a different reason." "What reason?" Arya had asked, her voice small and broken. "Because the people who killed your parents might come for you someday," Sarah had said, looking Arya straight in the eyes. Because your parents had skills and knowledge that only they understood. Special tactics. Special instincts. They started teaching you those things before they died. If I don't keep teaching you, all of that dies with them. But more than that, Arya, you need to be able to survive. You need to be able to protect yourself. And you need to be ready to finish what they started when you're older. So Arya trained. 3 times a week, Sarah drove them to small private airstrips in the middle of nowhere, little airports that don't ask many questions if you have cash and know the right people. Arya flew Cessnas and Pipers and once, a small private jet that Sarah's friend let them borrow. She practiced takeoffs and landings. She practiced emergency procedures. She practiced what to do when engines fail, when systems malfunction, when everything goes wrong. She learned her father's aggressive flying style, fast, decisive, never hesitating. She learned her mother's smooth precision, gentle touches, perfect timing, making the plane dance through the air. In simulators, Sarah set up terrible scenarios, both engines dead, hydraulics failing, controls frozen, fires in the cockpit. Over and over, Arya practiced staying calm and finding solutions. You're not training to be a pilot, Sarah always said. You're training to survive. Arya also trained in other ways. Self-defense. How to disarm someone with a weapon. How to fight someone bigger and stronger. How to stay calm when you're terrified. Someday, Sarah promised, when you're older and stronger and we have everything we need, we'll expose the people who killed your parents. We'll get justice. We'll make sure everyone knows they were murdered for telling the truth. But until then, you're just Arya. Just a regular kid. Nobody can know what you can do. Nobody can know who you really are. So that's who Arya has been for 3 years, nobody special. Just a quiet girl with a fake last name, moving from place to place, never staying long enough to matter to anyone. Until today. The seatbelt sign has been off for 20 minutes. The flight attendants are serving drinks. The plane is at 32,000 feet, cruising smoothly toward Chicago. Arya is pretending to read her book when she hears the bathroom door open behind her. She doesn't look up. Just another passenger returning to their seat. But something makes her aware. Maybe it's the training. Maybe it's instinct. Maybe it's the way the footsteps sound, too fast, too purposeful. She glances up just in time to see the man from seat 22D walking quickly up the aisle toward the front of the plane. He's wearing jeans and a jacket. His hand is inside the jacket, holding something. Arya's heart starts beating faster. The flight attendants are in the galley, not paying attention. Other passengers are reading, sleeping, watching movies on their phones. The man reaches the cockpit door. He pulls something from his jacket, something that looks like a card or a key. He swipes it. The cockpit door clicks open. Arya's blood turns to ice. Passengers aren't supposed to be able to open the cockpit door. Only crew members have the access codes. Which means this man isn't a regular passenger. The man pulls something else from his jacket. Something dark and shaped wrong. A gun. He rushes into the cockpit. 3 seconds later, Arya hears 3 soft popping sounds. Pop pop pop. Not loud like guns in movies. Quiet. Muffled. Like someone hitting a pillow with a hammer. Suppressed gunfire. Someone in first class screams. Then everyone starts screaming. A flight attendant stumbles backward from the cockpit, her face white as paper. He shot them, she shouts, her voice high and terrified. Oh God, he shot both pilots. Passengers are diving into the aisles. The businessman in 18B grabs Arya and tries to push her down into the space under the seat. Get down, he yells. Stay down. But Arya isn't getting down. Her training has taken over. Her body is moving before her brain catches up. 3 years of preparation. 3 years of Sarah saying, when something bad happens, you don't freeze. You don't panic. You act. Arya stands up. The hijacker appears in the cockpit doorway. He's holding the gun in one hand. His other hand pulls a scarf up over his face, covering everything except his eyes. His eyes are dark and angry. He shouts in English with a heavy accent, "Everyone stay in your seats. Nobody moves. This plane is now a weapon. We are going to crash it into the city. You are all going to die as martyrs for." He stops talking. He's staring at something. At someone. At Arya. Even with the scarf covering his face, Arya can see his expression change. His eyes go wide. His mouth opens. "You," he whispers. His voice is filled with shock. With disbelief. With recognition. He stares at Arya's face like he's seen a ghost. You're Reeves' daughter," he says, and now his voice is shaking. "Phoenix's child." The entire plane seems to go silent. Even the screaming stops for a second. Arya feels like someone dumped ice water over her head. Her whole body goes cold. He knows who she is. This isn't random. This isn't just a hijacking. He knows who her parents were. The hijacker's shock turns into rage. His face twists with hate. "Your parents destroyed my cell," he shouts. "They killed my brothers. My family. They ruined everything. You should have died with them." He raises the gun. Points it directly at Arya's face. Several passengers scream. The businessman tries to grab Arya, to shield her with his body. But Arya is already moving. Sarah's voice is in Arya's head, calm and clear, "When someone bigger has a weapon, you don't run away. You move toward them. Get inside their reach before they expect it. Fast. Low. Hit where it hurts." Arya drops into a crouch, making herself as small as possible. The gun is pointing where her head was a second ago. She launches herself forward like a runner leaving starting blocks. 3 years of training have made her fast. She's small and skinny, but she's also quick as a snake. The hijacker doesn't expect an 11-year-old girl to attack him. He expects her to cry or beg or freeze. His mistake. Arya slides under his extended arm, the one holding the gun, and drives her shoulder into his knee with all her weight behind it. It's a move Sarah taught her specifically. Knees only bend one way, Sarah had explained. Hit them from the side with enough force, and you can disable someone twice your size. Arya feels the impact shudder through her shoulder. The hijacker's leg buckles. He stumbles, trying to catch his balance. The gun goes off. Bang! The bullet hits the ceiling. Pieces of plastic rain down. Everyone is screaming now. Pure chaos. But Arya doesn't stop moving. She can't stop. If she stops, she's dead. She spots a fire extinguisher mounted on the wall, red, metal, heavy. She rips it free from its bracket, surprised by how much it weighs. At least 20 pounds. The hijacker is turning toward her, rage on his face, bringing the gun around. Arya swings the fire extinguisher with both hands like a baseball bat. She puts her whole body into it, turning her hips the way Sarah taught her. The heavy metal cylinder smashes into the hijacker's gun hand. She hears bones crack. The gun goes flying down the aisle, sliding under seats. The hijacker roars in pain and fury. He lunges at Arya with his other hand. But now other passengers are reacting. The businessman from 18B tackles the hijacker from behind. A big guy from row 20, looks like a football player, piles on top. Then more people join in. The hijacker is fighting, trying to throw them off, but there are too many. Someone pulls his arms behind his back. Someone else yanks off their belt and wraps it around his wrists. More belts, phone charging cables, anything they can find to tie him up. They have him pinned face down in the aisle, arms bound, shouting curses in Arabic and English. Arya doesn't stay to watch. She's already running forward, toward the cockpit. Toward the front of the plane where both pilots are shot. Toward the controls. The cockpit is worse than Arya imagined. Both pilots are slumped in their seats. The captain, he looks about 50, gray hair, wedding ring, is collapsed forward over the controls, blood soaking through the back of his white shirt. The first officer, younger, maybe 30, is tilted sideways, unconscious or dead, blood on his face and neck. Arya's hands are shaking. She wants to cry. She wants to scream. She wants Sarah. But the plane is in trouble. The aircraft is tilted forward, nose down, diving. The altimeter is unwinding fast, 31,000 feet. 30,500, 30,000. The airspeed indicator is climbing into the red zone. Too fast. Way too fast. Alarms are screaming. Red lights flashing everywhere. The autopilot is off, the hijacker must have disengaged it, trying to crash the plane. Chicago is ahead of them. A massive city with millions of people. That's what the hijacker wanted, to crash a commercial jet into downtown Chicago, killing everyone on board and who knows how many people on the ground. Arya can't let that happen. She climbs into the captain's seat. She's so small she has to pull the seat all the way forward and adjust it up as high as it goes just so her feet can reach the rudder pedals. "I'm sorry," she whispers to the captain as she gently pulls his body back from the controls. His head lolls to the side. She sees the bullet wound in his chest. "I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to save everyone. I promise I'll try." She buckles herself in. Her hands find the yoke, the control column that steers the plane. It's shaking, vibrating with the stress of the dive. Arya takes a breath. Pushes away the fear. Pushes away the horror of the dead and dying pilots. Pushes away everything except the training. She hears her father's voice, "First rule of emergency flying, establish aircraft control. Get it stable before you do anything else." She pulls back on the yoke, using both hands. The nose lifts slowly. The dive stops. The altimeter stops unwinding so fast. She adjusts the throttles, for levers that control engine power, bringing them back to a normal setting. The airspeed starts to decrease. She checks the attitude indicator, the instrument that shows whether you're level or tilted. She adjusts the wings until they're even. Her mother's voice, gentle touches. The plane wants to fly. Just help it do what it wants to do. 30 seconds after entering the cockpit, Arya has the plane stable. Wings level. Altitude holding at 28,000 feet. Speed back to normal range. Heading still toward Chicago, but no longer diving. She reaches for the radio, her hands small against all the switches and buttons. She finds the microphone, keys it on. When she speaks, her voice sounds impossibly young. Like a little girl. Because she is a little girl. "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday," she says, her voice high but steady. "This is Delta Flight 1247, Boeing 757, Miami to Chicago. Both pilots have been shot by a hijacker. I'm an 11-year-old passenger taking control of the aircraft. I'm trained to fly. I can do this. I need immediate assistance." Silence on the radio. Then a voice, shocked and confused, "Delta 1247, please repeat that transmission." "Did you say 11 years old?" "Affirmative," Arya says. She's focusing on holding the plane steady, making small corrections to the yoke, checking instruments. Both pilots are down. Hijacker has been subdued by passengers. "I have aircraft control. Please advise." Another pause. Longer this time. Then a different voice, sharp, military, all business, Delta 1247, this is Chicago Center Military Coordination. Did you say your name is Arya Reeves? Arya's stomach flips. She used her real name. Her actual name. The one she hasn't spoken out loud in 3 years. It was instinct. In the panic and fear, she forgot to use Harper. Now her real identity is out there, on recorded radio frequencies, for everyone to hear. But there's no taking it back now. Affirmative, she says. Stand by, Delta 1247. Stand by. Arya waits, both hands on the yoke, making tiny adjustments to keep the plane level. She can hear passengers in the cabin behind her, shouting, crying, praying. She can hear the hijacker cursing. She can hear someone, maybe a flight attendant, trying to help the wounded pilots. The radio is silent for 2 full minutes. 2 minutes where Arya holds 224 lives in her small hands. Then the radio crackles to life again, and everything changes. Movement outside the cockpit windows catches Arya's attention. 2 fighter jets slide into position on either side of the airliner. Sleek, deadly, gray F-22 Raptors, the most advanced fighter planes in the world. They're so close Arya can see the pilots inside, helmets and masks, looking at her through the airliner's windows. Then the radio transmission that will change Arya's life forever. Delta 1247, this is Viper lead, F-22 Raptor flight. Breaking radio silence under emergency protocol. The voice is calm, strong, confident. A pilot's voice. We know who you are, Phoenix. Arya's breath catches in her throat. Tears blur her vision. Phoenix. They called her Phoenix. Her mother's call sign. We've been monitoring you for 3 years, the F-22 pilot continues. Ever since your parents were killed. We know Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen has been training you. We know what your parents discovered before they died. We know why they were murdered. We know the conspiracy covered it up. And we know you're carrying on their legacy. Arya can't speak. She can only listen, tears streaming down her face, hands still steady on the controls because training is stronger than emotion. Phoenix, your parents were the best pilots we ever flew with, the voice says, and now there's emotion in it too. Pride. Grief. Respect. Colonel Marcus Viper Reeves and Captain Elena Phoenix Reeves were legends. Today, you're going to prove you're their daughter. We're with you all the way down. You're not alone up here. We've got you. Another voice joins the radio frequency, older, more authoritative. Arya, this is General Marcus Webb, United States Air Force Command. Your father saved my life in Afghanistan in 2018. Your mother personally trained half the pilots currently serving in my command. After they died, we knew something was wrong with that accident report. We couldn't prove it, but we knew. We've been watching over you from a distance, gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment. Arya finds her voice. It's shaky, thick with tears. Sir, I just want to land this plane safely. Then let's bring you home, Phoenix, General Webb says. Step by step. We'll guide you through everything. The whole Air Force is behind you. Your mom and dad would be so proud of you right now. Let's show everyone what Phoenix means. The F-22 pilot, Viper lead, speaks again. Arya, I flew with your dad. He was my instructor. Everything I know about flying, I learned from him. Today, I'm going to help you land this bird the way he would want. You ready? Arya wipes her eyes with one hand, the other still on the yoke. I'm ready. Good. First things first. What's your aircraft status? Arya scans the instrument panel, calling out information the way Sarah taught her. Boeing 757. Current altitude 28,000 feet. Airspeed 320 knots. Fuel showing about 3 hours remaining. Wings level. All engines operating normally. Hydraulics showing green. Flight controls responding properly. Both pilots are shot, one is. I think he's dead. The other one is unconscious. We have 224 passengers and crew on board. The hijacker is restrained by passengers. Outstanding, Viper lead says. You're doing everything right. Phoenix, you're flying better than most pilots with 10 years of experience. Your parents taught you well. While Arya flies, the story explodes across the world. Every news channel is showing live footage. Helicopters are filming the Boeing 757 with two F-22 Raptors flanking it. The headlines scrolling across screens, 11-year-old girl flying commercial jet after hijacking. Reporters are breathless. This is an unbelievable situation developing over the Midwest right now. An 11-year-old girl, identified as Arya Reeves, daughter of two legendary Air Force pilots who were killed 3 years ago, has taken control of Delta Flight 1247 after a hijacker shot both pilots. Military sources confirm that F-22 fighters have been scrambled to escort the aircraft. The girl is reportedly trained to fly and is being coached through an emergency landing. In the cabin of Flight 1247, passengers have their phones out. They're recording everything, streaming live to the internet. They're calling their families, crying, praying, posting on social media. One passenger, a reporter, is narrating into her phone, "I'm on the plane. We have an 11-year-old in the cockpit flying us. The pilots were shot by a terrorist. I can see her from here, she's tiny, she looks like she should be in middle school, but she's flying this plane. The Air Force is outside our windows. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. But she's doing it. She's actually flying." The hijacker, restrained on the floor, hands bound, is listening to all this. Arya can't see him from the cockpit, but passengers later report that his face went pale when he realized who he'd just tried to kill. Rashid Qasim. That's his real name, though nobody knows it yet. He's a terrorist, part of a sleeper cell that has been hiding in the United States for years. He's connected to the same network that Marcus and Elena Reeves exposed before they were murdered. 3 years ago, Viper and Phoenix destroyed most of his cell. Got his brothers arrested or killed. Ruined years of planning. When he found out there was a flight with an unaccompanied minor named Arya Harper traveling alone, he didn't think anything of it. Just another random kid. Easy target for his martyrdom mission. But when he stood in that aisle and looked at her face, really looked at her, he saw Elena Reeves in those hazel eyes. He saw Marcus Reeves in the shape of her face. He realized too late that the random little girl on his target flight was the daughter of the two pilots who had destroyed everything he worked for. And now that little girl is saving everyone he wanted to kill. The irony is crushing. For 35 minutes, Arya flies Delta 1247 under the guidance of the most skilled pilots in the United States Air Force. They walk her through every step. "Arya, this is Viper lead. We're going to bring you into O'Hare International Airport. Big runway, long and wide. Plenty of room. You've practiced landings hundreds of times in training. This is just one more. We'll guide you through the whole thing." Arya nods, then remembers they can't see her nodding. "Yes, sir. First, we need to start descending. You're currently at 28,000 feet. We need to get you down to about 3,000 feet for final approach. That's going to take about 20 minutes. I want you to reduce your throttle slightly and pitch the nose down just a few degrees. Nice and gradual. Can you do that?" "I can do that," Arya says. Her hands move to the throttles, pulling them back slightly. She pushes the yoke forward gently. The nose drops. The altimeter starts unwinding. "Perfect," Viper lead says. "Beautiful. Just like that. Your mom would do it exactly the same way, smooth and gentle." A different voice joins, an air traffic controller from O'Hare, Delta 1247, this is O'Hare Tower. We've cleared all other traffic. You have priority. The entire airport is yours. Emergency crews are standing by on the runway. Weather is clear, winds are light. You've got perfect conditions. Thank you, Arya says softly. The F-22 pilots keep coaching her through the descent. Every 1,000 feet, they check in. Every adjustment to speed or heading, they guide her. Delta 1247, you're doing great. Descending through 20,000 feet now. Maintain this rate. Throttle back a little more. Airspeed is a touch high. Perfect, that's it. Start your turn to the left now. Heading 180. That'll line you up with the runway. Arya makes each correction, her hands growing more confident with every passing minute. The plane responds to her touch. It feels right. Like it's listening to her the way her dad said it would. The city of Chicago appears in the distance. Massive skyscrapers. Lake Michigan glittering in the sun. And there, O'Hare Airport, sprawling and huge. Phoenix, you're going to start seeing the airport soon, Viper lead says. When you do, don't get overwhelmed by how big it looks. Just focus on the runway. Long strip of concrete. That's all you need to see. I see it, Arya whispers. There it is, the runway, stretching out ahead of her like a gray ribbon. Outstanding. Now we're going to prepare the plane for landing. First thing, landing gear. You see the gear lever? It's usually on the right side of the center console, big lever with a wheel symbol on it. Arya looks down. Finds it. I see it. When I tell you, I want you to pull that lever down. That'll drop the landing gear, the wheels. But not yet. We're still too high. Wait until we're at 5,000 feet. I'll tell you when. They continue the descent. Arya's heart is pounding now. Her palms are sweaty on the yoke. This is real. She's really going to try to land a Boeing 757 with 224 people on board. Descending through 10,000 feet, Viper lead narrates. You're doing perfect, Phoenix. Airspeed good. Descent rate good. Runway alignment good. You're flying like you've done this 1,000 times. I've done it in simulators, Arya says, voice tight. Then you can do it for real. Trust your training. At 5,000 feet, Viper lead says, gear down now. Arya pulls the lever. She hears and feels the landing gear dropping, mechanical sounds, thumps, the plane shaking slightly. 3 green lights appear on the instrument panel. Gear down and locked, she reports. 3 green lights. Perfect. Viper lead sounds genuinely proud. Next step, flaps. You need to extend the flaps, those are surfaces on the wings that slow you down and give you more lift for landing. You see the flap lever? Should be near the throttles. I see it. Give me flaps 15 to start. Arya moves the lever. More mechanical sounds. She feels the plane change, slower, more stable, like it's settling into landing configuration. They guide her through each step. Flaps to 30. Speed to 180 knots. Altitude to 3,000 feet, then 2,000, then 1,000. The runway is right in front of her now, growing larger, closer. You're on perfect glide path, the tower controller says. Looking beautiful, Delta 1247. At 500 feet, Viper lead says, Phoenix, you're about to do something most people never do in their entire lives. You're about to land a commercial jet. Your parents are watching from somewhere, and they're so proud. I want you to keep the nose pointed at the beginning of the runway. Keep your speed steady. At about 50 feet above the ground, I'm going to tell you to flare. That means you'll pull back gently on the yoke to raise the nose. Then let the plane settle onto the runway. Your mom could do this in her sleep. You've got her hands. You can do this. Okay, Arya whispers. The ground is rushing up now. She can see details, runway markings, lights, emergency vehicles lining the sides with their lights flashing. 100 feet, Viper lead says calmly. Steady. Hold what you've got. Arya's entire body is tense. Her hands are locked on the yoke. 50 feet. Flare now, Phoenix. Pull back gently. Arya pulls back. The nose lifts. The plane seems to float for a moment. Then the back wheels touch the runway with a thump. Not perfect, it's a bit firm, but the plane is down. The nose wheel drops. The whole aircraft settles onto the concrete. Thrust reversers. Viper lead shouts. Throttles all the way back, then pull the levers up. Arya does it. She hears the engines roar in reverse, helping to slow the plane. The Boeing 757 decelerates, rolling down the runway, speed dropping. 100 knots. 80, 60. 40, 20. The plane slows to walking speed, then stops. Arya sits in the captain's seat, hands still on the yoke, breathing hard. She did it. She landed a commercial airliner. She saved 224 people. Outside the windows, the two F-22 Raptors perform a vertical climb, shooting straight up into the sky so fast they almost disappear. It's a salute. A military honor for a mission accomplished. Viper lead's voice comes over the radio one last time. Phoenix has landed. Mission complete. Welcome home, little bird. Your parents are smiling. Arya lays her head on the yoke and cries. The next hours are chaos. FBI agents swarm the plane the moment it stops. Paramedics rush aboard to help the wounded pilots. The captain is dead, but the first officer is alive, barely. They get him to a hospital. He'll survive. The hijacker is arrested, dragged off the plane in handcuffs, his face covered for the cameras. Passengers are evacuated and taken to terminals where they're interviewed, checked by doctors, reunited with crying families who thought they were going to die. Every single passenger wants to talk about the 11-year-old girl who saved their lives. She was tiny, one woman sobs to reporters. Like a baby. But she flew that plane like she was born to do it. The terrorist tried to shoot her, a man says, shaking. He pointed a gun right at her face. And she attacked him. An 11-year-old kid attacked a terrorist. She disarmed him with a fire extinguisher. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. She sat in that cockpit for 40 minutes flying us to safety, another passenger says. I could see her from my seat. Her feet barely reached the pedals. But her hands never shook. Never. She saved us all. Arya is taken to a private room in the airport, FBI agents on every side, protecting her. Sarah arrives within an hour, having caught the first flight from her dying mother's bedside. She bursts into the room and pulls Arya into her arms, both of them crying. I'm sorry, Arya sobs. I'm sorry I used our real name. I exposed us. I ruined everything. You saved everyone, Sarah says fiercely. You saved 224 people. Your parents would be so proud. I'm so proud. And baby, you didn't ruin anything. You just brought down the people who killed your parents. Because that's what happened. The hijacker is identified within hours, Rashid Qasim, a terrorist with connections to the same sleeper cell that Marcus and Elena Reeves had exposed 3 years ago. His attack was revenge for the destruction of his network, revenge against the daughter of the pilots who ruined his plans. But by attacking Arya publicly, on a commercial flight, with witnesses and cameras everywhere, he made a critical mistake. He exposed himself. He exposed his remaining network. He gave authorities all the evidence they needed to prove that Marcus and Elena Reeves were murdered, not killed in an accident. Within 72 hours, 17 people are arrested. FBI raids across 5 states. They take down military officers, government contractors, civilians, all part of the conspiracy. Including 2 high-ranking officers in the Air Force chain of command who helped cover up Marcus and Elena's assassination. General Marcus Webb holds a press conference 3 days after the hijacking. 3 years ago, he begins, standing in front of American flags and Air Force logos. Colonel Marcus Viper Reeves and Captain Elena Phoenix Reeves were murdered for discovering a terrorist infiltration of our military. Their deaths were made to look like an accident. The investigation was closed quickly, questions were buried, and the conspiracy continued. He pauses, emotion breaking through his military composure. But Marcus and Elena had a daughter. Arya Reeves. She was 8 years old when her parents were killed. For 3 years, she's been living in hiding under a false identity, protected by Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen, who has been gathering evidence and training Arya in her parents' flying techniques. General Webb gestures to a screen behind him, which shows footage of Arya in the cockpit, her small hands on the controls. 3 days ago, a terrorist from the same network that killed her parents attempted to crash Delta Flight 1247 into downtown Chicago. He shot both pilots. He tried to murder Arya specifically because she was the daughter of the 2 people who destroyed his cell. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't have known, is that Arya Reeves has been trained by the best. She disarmed him. She took control of a Boeing 757. And she landed that aircraft safely, saving 224 lives. The room full of reporters is silent. The terrorists' attack gave us the final evidence we needed. Today, I can announce that 17 individuals connected to this conspiracy have been arrested. The investigation into the deaths of Colonel Reeves and Captain Reeves has been reopened. Justice is finally coming for 2 of the finest pilots this nation has ever produced. A reporter raises her hand. General, can we speak to Arya? Webb nods. She's asked to make a statement. Arya walks out onto the stage. She's wearing clean clothes now, jeans and a t-shirt, but she still looks impossibly small standing at the podium that's built for adults. Someone brings her a step stool so she can reach the microphone. She looks into the cameras. Into the lights. At the hundreds of people watching. And she speaks. My name is Arya Reeves, she begins, voice quiet but clear. I'm 11 years old. 3 years ago, my parents, Colonel Marcus Reeves and Captain Elena Reeves, were murdered because they discovered terrorists hiding inside our military. I was told it was an accident. Everyone was told it was an accident. But it wasn't. She takes a breath. My godmother, Sarah Chen, knew the truth. She protected me. She hid me. She changed our names and moved us every 6 months so the people who killed my parents couldn't find me. But she also did something else. She kept training me to fly, the way my parents started teaching me when I was 5 years old. Arya's hands gripped the edges of the podium. My parents loved flying. They taught me because they wanted to share that love with me. But Sarah kept teaching me for a different reason. She said, the people who killed your parents might come for you someday. You need to be ready. You need to be able to survive. You need to finish what they started. Tears are running down her face now, but her voice doesn't break. 3 days ago, those people came for me. A terrorist got on my flight. He shot the pilots. He tried to crash the plane into Chicago. And when he saw my face, he recognized me. He knew who I was. He tried to kill me because I'm the daughter of the 2 pilots who destroyed his terrorist network. The room is absolutely silent except for the sound of camera shutters clicking. But I survived because of what my mom and dad taught me. I disarmed him. I took control of the plane. I flew 224 people to safety using my mother's precision and my father's tactics. They called my mom Phoenix because she rose above every challenge. On that plane, I became Phoenix. Not because I wanted to. Because I had to. Arya wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I'm 11 years old. I'm in 6th grade. I like reading and flying, and I still cry sometimes when I think about my parents. But 3 days ago, I landed a Boeing 757 commercial jet. I saved 224 people. And I did it all because 2 incredible pilots loved me enough to prepare me for a world that took them away from me. Her voice finally breaks. My parents were murdered for telling the truth. For 3 years, nobody believed it. For 3 years, the people who killed them got away with it. But now, because a terrorist tried to finish what they started, everyone knows the truth. My parents were heroes. They were assassinated. And I hope, wherever they are, they know that their little girl finished what they started. The room erupts in applause. Reporters are wiping their own eyes. Even General Webb is crying. Arya steps back from the podium and walks into Sarah's arms. Arlington National Cemetery. Spring sunshine. Birds singing in trees that have just started to bloom. Arya stands in front of a memorial stone that has been changed. It used to say, Colonel Marcus Reeves and Captain Elena Reeves. Died in training accident. Now it says, Colonel Marcus Viper Reeves and Captain Elena Phoenix Reeves. Killed in action while exposing terrorism. American heroes. The F-22 squadron that escorted Arya's landing stands in formation behind her. 20 pilots in dress uniforms, standing at attention. General Webb is there. Sarah is there. And hundreds of other people, pilots who flew with Marcus and Elena, military families, even some of the passengers from Flight 1247 who wanted to pay their respects to the 2 pilots whose daughters saved their lives. General Webb kneels beside Arya. He's holding a wooden box. These belong to your parents, he says gently, opening the box. Inside are medals. Lots of medals. They were classified because of the mission your parents were working on. Now they can finally be displayed. Your mom and dad earned every one of these for bravery, for service, for excellence. He pinned some of the medals to a display board next to the memorial stone. Then he hands one medal to Arya, a Distinguished Flying Cross. This one, he says softly, is for you. For actions above and beyond the call of duty. For saving 224 lives. For finishing your parents' mission. Arya, you earned this. Arya holds the medal in her small hands. It's heavy. Real. Your parents were Phoenix and Viper, General Webb tells her. The best team this Air Force ever had. You're Phoenix now. And someday, not today, not this year, but someday when you're ready, we would be honored to have you carry their legacy in the Air Force. But Arya, that's years away. Right now, you're 11. You get to be a kid. You've earned that right 100 times over. Arya looks up at him. Will I ever stop missing them? No, Webb says honestly. But it gets easier to carry. And every time you fly, they'll be with you. Sarah kneels on Arya's other side. Your parents prepared you for the worst. Last week, you survived it. But from now on, we're done hiding. We're done running. You're Arya Reeves. Daughter of heroes. And you get to grow up as yourself. Overhead, the F-22s take off from a nearby base. They fly over the cemetery in missing man formation, for jets in close formation, then one jet breaking away, climbing up into the clouds. The missing man formation. Military tradition for honoring the fallen. As the last jet breaks away, all the pilots in formation behind Arya salute. Arya watches the jets disappear into the spring sky. She thinks about her mom teaching her to fly when she was 5, the plane talks to you through your hands. Listen to what it's saying. She thinks about her dad letting her take the controls, you're a natural, baby girl. You're going to be better than both of us. She thinks about Sarah training her in the dark, when something bad happens, you don't freeze. You act. She thinks about sitting in that cockpit, so scared she could barely breathe, but flying anyway because 224 people needed her to. She thinks about the F-22 pilot's voice, "We know who you are, Phoenix." Arya stands up straight. Military posture, like her parents taught her. She salutes the memorial stone. Salutes her mom and dad. "Call sign Phoenix," she whispers. "Ready for duty. Someday." Sarah stands beside her, hand on her shoulder. "Your parents would be so proud." "I know," Arya says. And she smiles, a real smile, the first one in 3 years that reaches all the way to her eyes. "I can feel them." The F-22s perform one final pass overhead, then disappear into the distance. Phoenix has risen. And she's only 11 years old.